Coach, everybody obviously hopes that he can return at some point in the future, but there are obviously question marks about that. But he's a guy that even if he never plays another game in a Caps uniform, he's a franchise legend. His numbers going up in the Capital One rafters at some point. He's got 1,105 games played in his career, 1,033 career points. He's top 50 all-time in assists in the NHL, 83rd on the all-time NHL points list. I mean, he's always flown under the radar a little bit because he's, Robin to Ovi's Batman. But, I mean, he's a guy that Caps fans have obviously grown to love over the last 15-ish years while he's been here. So it's going to hurt to not have him here, but everybody's going to remember the great play that he brought here as a Cap.
Couldn't agree more. And when the time for reflection comes, exactly what you touched on is what you're going to think about with his name and being retired and being one of the greatest Capitals in the history of the organization, potential NHL Hall of Famer, bringing a Stanley Cup to this city, just building with Ovi right there beside him, building this organization, this hockey club to what it is today. You could just go down the list. He's such a phenomenal player. So yeah, you're exactly right.
So Coach, you touched on this. Seemingly the only positive coming out of the Backstrom news is that once he's placed on the long-term IR, the team gets $9.2 million in cap relief that they can work with. So that's something tantalizing for McClellan. I know that he's spoken to the media and said he's pursuing opportunities, looking for a top six guy to help inject some life into the offense. So it's a black cloud with Backstrom, but you do now have some, or will soon have some salary cap flexibility to work with going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And that's sort of the Brian McClellan side of it and the GM and the management side of it. And I sort of look at it like, like how we went in tonight against the Florida Panthers. So I understand the question or not the question, but the comment, and it is a real thing. And wherever that goes, hopefully it helps our team become better. But right now we're just trying to figure out how we make the pieces work and how to get through this stretch right now.
So you've had a nice little break here. The last game was on Saturday when you guys beat Columbus, and Lindgren was awesome.
Yeah.
He was really good. So you won 4 out of 5. So I wanted to ask you, you were talking about when we had you on the show during training camp, and you talked about the new system that you're installing, which is going to be different than Coach Laub's. Are you getting the sense that the team is starting to be, comfortable and accustomed to this new system? I don't know anything about X's and O's about hockey, so you'd have to kind of break that down.
Yeah, I do think seeing a lot of positive steps from a structure standpoint of what we want to see in all three zones from the details of our system has grown exponentially over the last month. And even you could say even over the last probably 5 of the 10 games, the last 5 games that we've played, we've seen real positive steps. Now we understand like we've got a ways to go here, and we've got to figure out some ways to create more offense and score more goals as we're sitting, near the bottom of the league in that category. But we're doing a lot of the process stuff that we talk about that should take care of the result. We're looking after them, we're focusing on them. We're doing a really, really good job. And now hopefully what we need to do is just break through so that we're getting rewarded a little bit more offensively for all these things that we're doing. And I would expect it to happen. I think I've talked about this a few times. You don't normally in any sport have this many players that are snake bitten, meaning that they're playing at a high level. It's just not going their way. It's just not going in. The last part is not happening for them. And usually it happens. It ebbs and flows through the season of a couple guys going through slumps, a couple guys real red hot. We, unfortunately, at the beginning of this year, we just got a lot of guys that are really, really snake-bitten from a scoring and production standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Coach Spencer Carbery, head coach of the Washington Capitals, off to a 5-4-1 start. So Kuzi's been sick, right? What happens if he's not able to play tonight?
We'll need to Well, we don't need to, but we'll likely make a roster move to get a forward to get us at 12-6. We'd ideally like to be at 12-6 to play. We can play 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. But if he's not able to go, we most likely go 12-6.
So, Coach, you talked about maybe adding some scoring punch and trying to get out of that 31st in goals scored spot. Max Pacioretty, he's skated 3 times as he recovers from his second Achilles tear in a span of 5 months. He's a vet, and I'm sure you'd love to add his scoring punch. He had 37 points in 39 games with Vegas back in the 21-22 season before his injury luck went south. Are you optimistic about adding him into the mix soon?
Absolutely, and I think that'll help a great deal. You alleviate some pressure off of alleviate some pressure off of Osh, Willie, Stromer, Kuzi. Like those guys right now are feeling a lot of heat to produce, which they should. Like we rely on them too, but just another guy, especially veteran guy that can handle that type of pressure and has produced in the past will help a lot. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's real short term here. He's still got a ways to go, but it's trending in the right direction to get him back at some point soon.
All right, so tell us about Florida. They're 6-4-1. They actually just beat the Blue Jackets as well a couple nights ago. What kind of problems do they present for you guys?
So we're or I'm pretty familiar with them being in Toronto last year. Played them in the second round, so know them real well from diving into their lineup last year. They went on that run to the finals. So
they got the Tkachuk kid, correct?
Yeah. Extremely talented young player.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to defend. Very. He has such a unique skill set where he's so effective in and around the net.
Mm-hmm.
Not the fastest guy in the world, but when you're talking about creating offense down low in the offensive zone and around the net, he's as good as anybody in the National Hockey League.